Welcome to Maximize Your True Potential, Strategies for Success, hosted by Ken Kingstead. Part 15, How to Maximize Your Business Development Process. This series will give you the edge to recognize and then achieve your goals through its philosophy of constant, never-ending improvement. Strategies that will become a fluid part of who you are. Maximize your true potential. Strategies for success. Your first step to success, beyond your imagination.
Hi, welcome back. Hey, listen, I appreciate all your time and energy you put into this process. I'll tell you what, we have to tie it all together right now. And I'll tell you, the biggest thing or misconception in the whole process of follow-up is really leadership, okay? It's not enough for the salespeople to understand these techniques. Remember I said way back in our initial conversation, I said that, we've got training, conditioning from whom? I said that we get them from our coaches and our mentors. Guys, this is for you, the managers in this room. We've got to learn to coach, train, condition these activities. And you've got to get comfortable with them yourself. Let's face it, going out and appraising a car is a no-brainer for you. Going out and desking a deal, you can do it in your sleep. But if I ask you today to pick up the telephone yourself and make a call back to an unsold prospect, how comfortable are you with that particular call? Again, the speed of the team is predicated on the speed the leader sets. Does that make sense? We can't expect our people to follow you into battle, if you will, unless you're willing to get out of the plane yourself and lead their charge in this process. Kind of a corny example, but I think it makes good sense. Okay? And we can't be a boss to these people. We've got to be a leader to these people. And there are differences between being a leader and being a boss. I think of a leader as someone who sets the pace, the precedent, who walks the walk. A boss tells people to do jobs they themselves can't even do. Does that make sense? A leader will actually roll up their shirt sleeves and get involved and not be afraid to get his hands dirty in the process. A boss, in our hands, just barks out orders. Stands around the club waiting to hit someone over the head. So I'm going to really challenge you all as leaders to take this thing to the next level, if that makes sense. Okay? And what I mean by that is the routine. The routine of a team leader, if you will. If you don't have a team leader at your store, then it's a sales manager's routine. What is the role of a sales manager or / team leader? I'll tell you what you got to do as a team leader or a sales manager. We have to do one-on-ones with our salespeople. There has to be one-on-ones. I don't care if you do it in a business development setting or a customer development setting, or if you do it at their desk in the showroom floor. There has to be time carved out of your day. Time management 101. Proactive time. That make sense? We can't just react to the tempo of the day. I know a lot of times as managers, we come to work and we just kind of look for things to keep us busy. When it's down, it's quiet, guess what? Train. And make time to train. Spend the time with the people. There's a training class like we're doing right now. I'm training you. But then coach them. Sit down and do the one-on-ones. Go through their customers from last night, last week, and last month. And let's find out where they're at in the process. Hey, pick up the phone yourself. Make some PR calls for them. Show them that you can actually use the call guides we've been teaching. It's important. If you don't know it, then I can't really follow you. So you have to set the standard. And that standard's got to be set high. I know the owner's probably wanting to sell more cars, and you know what? You want to sell more cars. Give yourself a pay raise. You more than anyone is going to reap the harvest because of, let's say it takes 75 cars to go to 0. Obviously we're looking at a small store. You sell an extra 20 cars, man, just think of the difference it makes. An extra 5 cars at the end of the month. What a difference it makes. Or if you're selling 500 cars or 1,000 cars a month, it doesn't matter. There's a point of, okay, we need to sell this many cars to go to 0. If we can move the needle, and I'm telling you, I'm challenging you, if you fail because you've totally made a decision not to apply these principles. I've not seen yet a store not have at least a 20% improvement. That's a phenomenal bottom line improvement. Okay, 20%. It's a little from the floor follow-up, a little from the phone-up follow-up, and it's a little from the owner-based follow-up. It's a little bit for calling back our prospects and referrals. But it all adds up to a whole lot. And again, your skills are predicated on your ability to follow through on this. Okay? So one-on-ones have got to be done by the sales manager or team leader. Every day, Monday through Friday. Hey, take Saturday and Sunday off. But Monday through Friday, we've got to have our one-on-ones. They got to know when they're going to be, and they have to know what we're going to talk about. And not just to go through them and say, call this one and call that one, but to get involved. Hey, let me call this one here. I remember that deal. I desked it with you last night. Let me try this once on them. I got an idea. Tell them about this particular car we have over here. Give them some ideas and use the principles to overcome objections and bring them in. Okay? Monitor and coach them. Listen to them. Make some calls, you team leaders, you sales managers. You know, there's no better way to earn the respect of your people than to listen and really show them that you care, and then make calls for them. Make sense? We want to record all the appointments that are made every day on a board. Get a board like this here. Stripe the board. You know, put down, you know, over here the customer's name, the date, the time of the appointment, who set the actual appointment, and if it's been confirmed by a manager. Put it on the board, stripe it so we can know. And as soon as the actual call has been completed and the appointment's been made, salespeople need to go to the board immediately and put it on there. And guess what you need to do then? Also have it on there for phone numbers, best and next best. So then the manager can actually get on the horn, call and confirm it. You know what? I used to say it years ago, you know, call it 24 hours before the deal actually is ready to come in. Okay? I say call it now. Call and confirm the appointment right away. They're still at home. I'd rather get a human being and talk to them than get an answer machine. Okay? And try to get our appointment set for today or tomorrow. You start going 3 or 4 days out, they're not going to show up. You know, give our people a standard. When you sit down and do your one-on-ones, find out, hey, what's your goal today? And write it down. At the end of the day, we want to go back to that goal and find out if they've accomplished that goal. This is making sense. It's that accountability that takes someone out of their comfort zone. It stretches them. It makes them step up to the pump to be successful. Okay? So when you're doing your one-on-ones, okay, what's your goal today, George? I'm going to get 2 appointments for you today. I know I can get 2 today. Hey, do it for yourself. I'm here for you. Who can I call to help you get at least one of those appointments myself for you? Oh, I'll call this customer. I can't get nowhere with this customer. Man, I just keep on calling and calling and calling. I don't know what the problem is. Well, let me call him for you right now. And call. Get him an appointment, man. High-five him. You know, give him a attaboy. Make him feel good. Sign it, you know, again, put it on there. 2 appointments for the day. And then get him a pat on the back and send him on his way. You go to your next one-on-one. And do all your one-on-ones every day. You may have to break into 2 or 3 people. Have different teams doing this thing. I don't care. I mean, if you got a lot of people, you got team leaders. If you got a small store, get a couple of guys involved, you know, in helping out in this process. Trust me. Accountability to this process is what makes this thing grow. Now, let's say by 4 or 5 o'clock in the day, you know, we want to get our prime time ready, right? Prime time we talked about earlier is being, say, from 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock till close. So during the non-peak periods of time, we want to maximize telephone activities. So we want our people making these phone calls, if you will, through the day and get them all confirmed on the board up here for us. Say we want them all collect, we want to sit down and do our exit interviews, if you will, at 5 o'clock or 4:30, okay? Sit down with your people, make a 2-minute deposit. In other words, okay, how'd you do today? All right, good job. You got 2 appointments? Fantastic. We got 1 appointment? Hey, listen, who can we call right now before the end of the day? Who can I call for you? Again, hold them to that standard. If you can get 2 appointments per person per day, where are you at? Think about it once. You got 10 people, 20 appointments, 80% of those show up and you close half of those. Trust me on this here. This works, but it does take effort. It does take focus. What you focus in on is what's going to change. Don't make this the program of the month. Make this the program of the store. It's the culture. And if the people who are leading the battle, if you will, the leaders, aren't using the culture here, what's going to happen? It goes away. All right? By the way, real quick, back to sales managers. We want to make sure that if you have letters that are getting sent out, if you got letters from your Reynolds or ADP program, what do you have? You should be sending those letters to your owner base at least once a quarter, I recommend. You know, just, hey, thinking about you, hope all is well. Just wanted to touch base with you. If anything's, you know, need to help you or assist you in any way at all, please give us a call. Hey, I'll be giving you a call next day or so anyway, just to touch base. I think you should send letters out to your owner base every quarter. Okay? And also, call them every quarter. Just to say, hey, update your household prospects. Get a referral. Harvest that business that's waiting to be picked up. Don't let it go down to the competition because we're not making those follow-up calls. Make sense? Excellent. And we want to just measure activities. We want to manage the activities of our people. You know, when you see someone just standing around not doing anything, guess what? Have a one-on-one. Hey, come over here. You know, you're tracking 10 cars this month. You know, I know your goal for the month is to get to, you know, 15, okay? You share with me your why, and you want to get your kid into college. You know, doing what you're doing right now isn't going to accomplish that, you know? And that's another thing we need to talk about is we want each of your people to give you a copy of their why. Put it in their personal file folder, right? And use that during your quarterly or your one-on-one meetings. Use that as leverage. People do things for their reasons, not yours. Okay? Use it as leverage to help them step up. You know, this is the most personal thing to this person probably. Use it to get them to do the things that they don't want to do. Okay? And also, now, general sales managers, what's your role in this whole process? Well, you know what? I think reconciling the incoming phone calls is a part of it, through the team leader or through the sales manager. Not having to do a lot of the work, if you will, but, you know, managing the flow of work through your people. You know, I think you need to have a desk log. The receptionist has. Have every call that comes in, it's sales related, have her log it, have her page sales. I know in a lot of stores it's impossible to do because it's so busy up front. You know, but then we need to track how many calls came in per day. We want to track who got those calls. We want to track what happened to those calls, don't we? We spend all this darn money to make the phone ring, the door swing, and we're not managing the actual activities of those opportunities to do business. Okay? So let's take and begin to measure and track it. And part of the sales manager's job, through you, is to be accountable to make sure that if we got 10 calls come in, where do those 10 calls get distributed to? They're like kind of like checks. A phone call comes in, it's a check. We write a check to the salesperson. We want that check to clear the bank. The bank is the receptionist, which is being managed by the leadership. Okay? 10 calls came in. They went to these 10 people. At the end of the day, before anybody goes home, I want to know where our canceled checks are. We're not going home until all checks are reconciled to the log at the receptionist's desks. That way we can track, you know, how many calls came in. Is it really 100 cars multiplied by 2.5? Are we getting 250 calls actually a month? Or how many are we getting? Let's begin to measure this. Are we getting 10% sales out of that? You'll never know this stuff unless you begin to track it. And I know there's a ton of programs up there through ADP and Reynolds, and shoot, there's a ton of software we can begin to use to track these things. And I can give you some great suggestions in which one to use as well. And basically, the general manager / owner, he's more or less just analyzing a few reports. You know, he needs to know how many appointments he's got every day, who's coming in tomorrow. For the general manager or owner, he needs to know how many appointments are available that day, just like he should know how many cars are burning gas that day. And so when he calls in, I recommend the general manager should ask a couple questions. Hey, first off, how many appointments have we got? The second question would be, how many of those are confirmed? And the third question should be, how many cars we got burning gas right now? You know, if we got 5 appointments and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, what are you doing all day? Again, it's accountability all the way up. It's got to be culture. Now, trust me, I've worked in a ton of stores, hundreds of the processes like I'm talking about right now, and we've had some fantastic results. The worst kind of result is 20% improvement. I mean, I've had stores go from 500 to over 850 cars a month. You know, just tremendous improvement in terms of their processes and routines. But you know what? It's culture. It's not an option to do this. It's got to be that way. So lead the charge. So from the general manager down to the sales manager, team leader, we've got to understand what reports, you know, to look at are important in terms of, you know, the appointment list. The no-show list would be important to look at as well. You know, our callback list. And then our activities. You know, every store has a desk log where we can track how many people came in, to how many were written up, to how many were demoed, to how many were sold. We need to track those numbers to begin to manage the people's weaknesses and build on their strengths. So when we come to work, we can train intelligently versus just put together a training class and have it be ineffective. Every person has their own desires, or actually every person has their own weaknesses. If I'm strong at demoing, you know, are you going to help me by teaching me how to demo? But if I'm weak at, you know, greets, and you are great at it, you know, I need to get the help where I need it. So managing that process is very important. Okay, now listen, there's a ton of material we've given you here through this series of tapes. There's a lot of responsibility and a lot of things. And I'm only a phone call away myself. Call me. I'd love to help any way I can. But the most important thing we have to realize is that it's kind of like the old analogy. I won't get into a long story, but there's an analogy of a young boy growing up, and his dad actually was the president of General Motors. You know, and his name was Bunky Newsom, okay? And Bunky was a 16-year-old, and he just turned 16 on the summer vacation. His dad called him up and said, "Happy birthday, come on down. I have a new car for you." The kid jumps out of bed and runs down to the actual factory, to General Motors. This is back in the 40s, okay? And he goes to see his dad. There's a big old office, you know, and he gives his dad a hug, and he says, hey, happy birthday, Bunky, his name is, and come on, I want to hit you out and introduce you to a few of the people on the plant. And his dad, can I have my car, Dad? Can I have my car? He's like, all in good time, all in good time. He said, I want to take you out. So he takes him out, and here's Joe. You know, Joe does all the assembly work. He's the manager of the assembly line. He knows they talk back and forth. He goes on to the next guy, the engineer for the electronics and so forth. And they exchange pleasantries throughout the plant. It's like an hour and a half goes by. He's like, Dad, can I have my car? He says, all right, come on, let's go out back. So they walk the back of the building. They go to the big old pole building out in the back. It's kind of like one of these airplane hangars, you know. There's not a window in the place. You know, Dad opens up the big old padlock and pushes the doors back into the walls. As they roll back, you know, they walk into this big old warehouse. It's pitch black in this thing, right? They walk into it, you know, and Dad turns on the lights. Boom! They come on, and he turns to his son and says, happy birthday, Bunky. There's your brand new Chevrolet. And he looks at the thing and turns to his dad and looks back at the floor again and says, Dad, it's like in 10,000 pieces all over the floor. And his dad grins and says, that's right, son. There's some assembly required. And the same thing I say to you. Right now we're sitting here and we've looked at a lot of different tools to enhance ourselves, to be the best that we can be. We're on this journey of life of constant and never-ending improvement. And I congratulate you for getting as far as you have in life today. But we've got a journey ahead of us. And right now, there's all these pieces of the puzzle that need to be assembled. Guess what? We're here for you. Call us. We'd love to help any way we can. But listen, it's all about putting the processes in place for yourselves. Use this stuff. Grow your business and make it the best you can. Until next time, have a great day.